It's another day, another draft here on Splash Play. Stream draft number 131 for me on the year. Of course, I am already in a draft room here on the Monday where Pete Overs at stream is going to destroy the view count for our stream here on Splash Play. I'm picking the 2-hole, so I'm going to get a share of either Christian McCaffrey or CeeDee Lamb after being stuck in the 11-12 hole a lot lately. Today, we'll get the taste of what it's like up top here. But it's a Monday draft here. It is actually BBM number 69 for me, which if I'd known that in advance, that would have been on the title of the video. So prepare for that to be changed after we go live today. But BBM number 69, you guys saw my exposures on Friday, and you will, in fact, see them on the screen once again, thanks to our friends over at bestballoverlay.com. More about that coming up. So CeeDee Lamb goes at the 101. Historically, Mondays have been Hero RB Monday, though. At this point, every day has been a Hero RB draft for me lately. But I'll go Christian McCaffrey here at the 102. I do think as we get into July, August, you will see a few more people starting to go with passing on Christian McCaffrey in the first couple spots. Just with them trying to get their exposures right, them trying to make up at wide receiver. That'd be my guess. So that's going to be what we do with Christian McCaffrey here. Soak up the value here. What a deep discount on Christian McCaffrey. Also, looks like we can't go live on Twitter right now because you have to be verified now to stream on Twitter. So I'm not paying Twitter for 2 verifications. So I guess we're done streaming on Twitter. Back to YouTube exclusive here on Splash Play. Living the dream. All right, now we get to wait a long time between picks. Fun stuff coming up, though. Training camp officially coming up tomorrow for a lot of teams out there. Then you basically have like a 1 week, I think a week and change rolling window for training camps to start up. So finally should be a time period where the news items aren't just this fantasy blurb outlet found an article from July. This beat reporter found something that they talked about in May and repurposed it for a new article. Going to be actual news about guys playing well, guys moving up depth charts, guys running with the first team, guys running with the second team, and also guys getting hurt. It's going to be coming up soon. So welcome to training camp season. A lot going on there. Went to the beach yesterday, made the mistake of drinking an Americana and shit myself. I sometimes should read entire chats before I pull them up the screen, but shout out to our guy Ball King here, or Bally King. I always fuck you up. But Ball King, Poop in the Ocean King is what you should be changing your name to now. That's aggressive. That is an aggressive one, but I appreciate your honesty here. That's what we've long said about Splash Play, fantasy football advice, and a place where gentlemen can just talk about gentlemanly things like drinking an Americana and being unable to control their bowels. That's what we look for here on a fine Monday. No baseball today either. This is my first piece of content for the day. Normally I do the probably video on YouTube, do a short form version for TikTok. And now that's not the case. Now I am in fact doing only Splash Play for a few days. It's All-Star break. So don't have bets for the home run derby. There's market data for it, but home run derby, not really something we would advocate for as a serious betting outlet probably. But also for the All-Star game itself, small sample size stuff there. Guys not playing for more than an inning or two. Those are the kind of things that don't add a lot of value, but still have some NBA Summer League going. WNBA, I don't think there's any games today either, but there should be some this week. So still have betting data if you want to get action in at probably.com. Learn more for yourself, probly.com. AJ Brown falls to 11 in this room. Doesn't necessarily create much value, but Ludwig Dame here having a nice time for himself. I'm just going to keep switching my promo ads here. Why not? On the day where nobody watches me live, I can do as I please with ads. I can just switch ads left and right. It's the dream. I also got a workout in today, and I feel like, I don't know if I'm like a little bit flushed or what, or if it's the colored palette being different now on here, but I feel like I look like rosy in a way where I look like I'm trying to look beautiful. And I have to tell you guys, I try to look beautiful for you guys every day, but I guess I showered this morning, could maybe it, but showering, then working out, my skin looks rosy is how I feel about it. I don't know why. My dewy skin here. The dewiest skinned best ball stream in town is here on Splash Play. That's actually what the splash emoji is for my dewy skin. Derrick Henry at 15, Saquon at 14. Are we back in 2018, guys? Oh, either way, not picks you want to take there. Given that you can get 1 round of value on Henry, you can get half round of value on Saquon. Saquon is moving down a lot of drafts. I've seen people sending me screenshots of Saquon going at the 2-3 turn lately, so something to keep in mind. Reaching for Saquon at this point, really killing your EV, especially when you have a falling A.J. Brown. I would really question it. Not a unique pairing to go A.J. Brown and Saquon Barkley. And Saquon at an increased price tag when his ADP is coming down. Not the move. I'm glowing. Thank you. Thank you, Matthew. I can always look at the regulars here. One of our OGs, Matthew, he'll tell me I'm glowing. Tell me I'm beautiful. Actually, it might be the shift in the fight. No, not on the shirt. Just what? Okay. GMs, welcome to the Monday Indie stream, boys. Yes, we're here alone. We're playing to a smallly attended bar while Pete's playing Coachella. That's how it goes on Mondays. But we're happy to have you guys here live or after the fact. A lot of people do watch after the fact. Nico coming back would have been nice. Ayuk coming back's pretty nice for CMC at the 102. We'll take that here. Debo's gone, so we can't build the pure Niners pairing, but we're building a pretty good one with CMC and Ayuk at a little bit of a discount. 2 discounts on both players. I don't know if this is unique per se, but it might be a little more unique than it seems. We got cool Adam, old Adam here. I got more Adams per capita than anybody else out there. Shout out to all the Adams. Shout out to the new members as well. Forgot to update the sheet before the show, but you guys are still near and dear to my hearts. All right, we got 0-1-1 here. Not the greatest pocket in the world. Obviously, have to take receiver at a certain point. Not the biggest Mike Evans guy, as represented by the 1% exposure you can see on Best Ball overlay here. But in this build, we'll just take Mike Evans, I think. Not a sexy pick. Doesn't make the most sense given that this is a build where I guess the one thing you could say is that a lot of times people will maybe take Mike Evans for the Dallas correlation with CeeDee Lamb in week 16. You can see it on the screen here. Dallas playing in the dome for week 16 if we have the Best Ball overlay tool. So maybe that's one logic there is that we don't have CeeDee Lamb. We have McCaffrey instead, and we're taking Evans. It's a little bit 40 chess, a little bit galaxy brained, but that's how I'm going to justify taking Mike Evans here. So the team so far, Christian McCaffrey, Brandon Ayuk, Mike Evans here, big discounts relatively for guys this early at receiver, and McCaffrey at the 102, technically a discount as well. So I'm not mad at it. Did see a best ball exposure tool from one streamer. Ayuk CMC is unique. Almost no one has it. Debo CMC is more common. There you go. That doesn't surprise me given the ADPs. Normally you're getting Ayuk in the middle of the second round. So I'll take it. And then I think adding a discounted Mike Evans on top probably increases the uniqueness. Even though I'm not a big Mike Evans guy, I don't want to be necessarily crazy under on Mike Evans. I think I feel more 8%-y for him as opposed to like the 4%-y I want to be for Garrett Wilson. We shall see. Oh, Alpha Adam. Are you challenging the other Adam? Is it a Highlander situation between Adams? Calling it now. Someone will snipe Brock for me. Don't push him at QB today. I could feel it in my poopy butt balls. Poopy butt balls. That's not part of character canon, Mr. Poopy Butthole. I've never once heard him say my poopy butt balls. Ooh-wee. You better rewatch some episodes and stick to the lore for your VTube debut. Mr. Poopy Butthole to be streaming drafts as the titular Mr. Poopy Butthole, which I'm excited to see. Excited with the start, though. Very excited with the start. Saw Brian Robinson 101 last night. Had to sit through 18 rounds fuming that it's probably getting tossed. First of all, I wouldn't assume it's getting tossed. If it's one pick that might not get it tossed. Second of all, honestly, the guy could collude, and you're not going to know for a while. It doesn't seem like drafts are getting tossed very often this time of year. Bad pick again. So Ludwig here gets A.J. Brown at 11, which doesn't happen terribly often. It happens, but it doesn't happen terribly often. Compounds the error there by taking Saquon ahead of ADP. I guess I don't even think he's trying to get unique. I think he was just taking a player that he liked. He takes Mahomes unstacked because Kelsey doesn't come back to him. This guy, Gambler, takes Kelsey with Josh Allen. Just a series of compounding errors that you do not want to do for your team when you get handed a gift like a discounted A.J. Brown. I don't know what he could have done to make the team more unique. I guess just soaking up a little bit of value, taking Drake London with A.J. Brown, which doesn't feel like the most unique pairing, but maybe ADP-wise a little bit more unique than it seems. Michael Pittman falls to 39 here, which I've been clamoring for weeks. Think he is much more in the Samari Cooper tier than the Steph Diggs, Cooper Kupp, DK Metcalf tier. So if Pittman starts going 39-ish a little bit more, I'd feel pretty good. The issue is I guess he'd be moving a little bit further away from the side of the board with Malik Neighbors. So that would be one less week 17 pairing you're getting too often. We'll be interested to see if the 5-hole goes Kittle. We will officially have a Purdy showdown. We'll see. Look, I'm never going to be somebody that freaks out about not getting Brock Purdy. Obviously, in this build, happy to have him. But, he goes cheaply enough in enough rooms that I'm not going to go like grabbing Purdy in the 90s when he's normally going, around 110-ish. So we'll see what we do. Got a ways to think about it. See what touchdown Raichu does. Pacheco. No issue with Pacheco as a pick ever. Maybe a little bit of an issue when you have Kyron Williams already. Structurally, not the best to add another RB on, but we'll see what he does with the rest of it. He's an evolved Pikachu. How could he go wrong? All right, 0-1-2-0 here. You can see here, a lot of times I'm going Terry McLaurin in this spot. A lot of times I'm also going Trey McBride. Very few times I'm going Travis Etienne. I don't see... I mean, we got to keep making it up at receiver. So if this guy takes 2 receivers, then we'll make a decision for ourselves on the turn. We'll go Terry McLaurin here. I got to get down on Washington. I know I have to get those exposures down a little bit, but we're at 33% for McLaurin now. At 32%, I can afford a little McLaurin as a treat. I deserve a little Terry McLaurin. Thoughts like Christian Kirk's ADP, I'm comfortable with it. I think he's going to have some issues scoring touchdowns this year, but I do think, as I've mentioned a lot of times here, I bet he's probably target number 1 between the 20s for them. So I foresee a lot of like 8 for 80 kind of games for him, which is fine. If he tacks 1 touchdown on, you're having a good week. If he doesn't, you're having a perfectly passable week. I think there's value in those kind of players and teams like this. So we have Niners, Tampa Bay, Washington here. No correlation we need to go up and get. Keenan Allen, always a comfy wide receiver 4, wide receiver 5. Andrew's a little bit of a discount, but not enough, I think. Keenan Allen will be the pick here. I guess the logic in going Andrews is maybe a lot of players in my spot would go Kittle coming up the next couple rounds. So maybe you go over the top with a slightly better tight end, or, a tight end who can beat him. It shouldn't even say slightly better. Maybe slightly better as well. So I don't know, but we'll go with the receiver here. So we've got Christian McCaffrey, Brandon Ayuk, Mike Evans, Terry McLaurin, Keenan Allen. A little bit of an older team, I'll say. A lot of miles on these bones for these guys. Well-projected team for sure. Team that we know we're getting here, so I'm going to live with that. Yeah, I don't really know how many people are signing up yet for it, but just for the record, if you are seeing the little graphics on the screen here, wondering how you get that for yourself, it is the Best Ball Overlay tool. You can get it at bestballoverlay.com. It's normally $30 a month, but you get $10 off your first month. Use promo code SPLASH at bestballoverlay.com, so check it out. And Sport the Pound as well, who's the creator of it, does a good job with it. And also, quick plug for Drafters. Did my double header stream on Drafters. Gave away 4 tickets on Saturday. We'll give another one away on Saturday this weekend coming up. Go play on Drafters, though. Promo code SPLASH on Drafters. $100 deposit match. Good time to start doing it, especially if you're maybe got a few too many BBM entries in. You want to save some time to get the news in August in particular. I really recommend not maxing out BBM too early. So go get some entries in on Drafters. $15 entry, $500K to first place. And good promos as well. If you get 10 entries in, they give you one for free. Another thing at 25. So good deals over at Drafters as well. And of course, Underdog, promo code SPLASH. You know it. Nez and Tyler popping in, give me the charity hellos coming in from Peachtree, but I appreciate the boys being kind enough to do that. Always glad to see you guys in here. It's Indie Show Monday, as we talk about here. We've gone from Carnival to Indie Show, but we're doing it for the diehards today. We're building a sick team, getting some nice value early on, and then maybe a little bit cliche stuff on top of that for myself with Terry McLaurin and Keenan Allen, but happy to have them. Bones are their money. That's true. We love that song at the record label. We don't want to hear the other one. By Billy Walsh from Entourage, playing that character. David Montgomery at 63. Honestly, you could talk me into that price tag. I think he's a better pick than Rachaad White. In my rankings, I have Rachaad White, I believe, right behind David Montgomery. Because I just bumped Rachaad White all the way back. He and Kenneth Walker, to me, are mid-70s running backs. I've got a 74 rank on Rachaad White and a 73 rank on Montgomery. And both of them are going in the early 60s here. Is this a sign of July and August takes coming in that Montgomery's going to get steamed up? Or is it just this one guy going rogue in a draft where a lot of guys have gone rogue? You decide. You decide. Caleb Williams blows quite literally. Oh, that's not what we want to hear. He blows on his little nails when he's got them painted. He's a great player. I'd be mad at Caleb Williams. It's going to be an exciting player for Chicago. Still would rather have Jaden Daniels for fantasy and, frankly, for real-life stuff, but Caleb is a smart player. He's going to have a lot of fun plays for Chicago with that wide receiver core. Jordan Addison, my Jordan Addison watch, 10% exposure in BBM, which doesn't really scare me. Shot to get suspended with the DUI that he picked up. Not sure it's going to for sure happen, though, as the same thing with Rashee Rice. So really, Probably gets an ADP drop that makes him, I think, look a little better coming later on. But really, that's the main thing for me. Would not go too crazy and overreacting to that one. Okay, we have a 0140 here. Again, not going to scoop Addison at ADP at this point. Correlation-wise, nothing to grab here, really. Guess Deontay could do it to set it up for the future. All right, we'll do that. Deontay Johnson, share, wide receiver 5. Again, I am not getting younger at receiver as we go. That's the one thing I will mark myself down for here. We got Christian McCaffrey, Brandon Ayuk, Mike Evans, Terry McLaurin, Keenan Allen, and Deontay Johnson. I am a fun wide receiver room. Fun in terms of like they're going to play old people games at the old folks home kind of stuff, maybe. But still a fun build. Could take Walker for some additional Seattle, Chicago stuff. Could go JSN and not play the wide receiver games too much moving forward. I think that's kind of fun. I'm going to go JSN. We're going to have a 1 RB, 6 wide receiver build, and we are going to stay deeply away from wide receiver for a little bit. But team so far, 0-1-6-0. Yeah, Kittle went, so we couldn't take him. Where did Kittle go? Kittle did not go to the Deebo Samuel drafter. Kittle went to a guy with no Detroit, just wanted a tight end. Kid Calzone, fun name. Bad pick, but fun name. All right, so my team so far is 0-1-6-0. So normally I will go to 5 receivers and keep that 6 receiver flexibility for later on. It's Monday. I'm trying some stuff out. We got McCaffrey as our RB. That's really the logic there. So we have Christian McCaffrey, Brandon Ayuk, Mike Evans, Terry McLaurin, Keenan Allen, Deontay Johnson, and Jackson Smith and Jigba. So Seattle, Chicago correlation, Tampa Bay, Carolina correlation, nothing for Washington, Atlanta. Obviously, Niners stacked up together. If we get Purdy, great. If we don't get Purdy, also fun. What's up, Squirt Squad? What's up, Paul? Appreciate you being here live. My dick is a diehard 469. You feel is Tyler giving us an AI bot of himself? Is it like because he's watching Pete stream and he's giving me the AI bot version where he's like, you pull the string on the doll and I'm getting Tyler catchphrases, some of the stuff he's workshopping on the back end. JSN better than Lad? I would agree. I mean, I like JSN more as a play. I like JSN more as a player. Lad's probably got the better situation just because of less target competition. But yeah, I would say in terms of talent, I mean, Lad honestly is a better athlete. So I probably don't give him enough credit for that yet because I just haven't really seen it myself on the field. Like watching him in routes in minicamp, really didn't do a whole lot. Sell me into the athleticism. Obviously, the combine scores do a whole lot, but I don't really feel like I've seen it for anything he puts on film. So I need to see Lad have some exciting plays in training camp for me to get there with where he is athletically. It's weird. Like if you have athletic, traits that are good and whatever, and you're a talented athlete, but you don't really produce more on the field with it. I feel like that's one of those things that both he and Xavier Worthy kind of worry about a little bit. I would fail a Turing test of a Tyler AI. It's true. It's just you, bitch. I'm just also doing emails and puppies. Oh, you're doing puppies? Things are getting hard up in there. Looking for some views online. Addison goes at 84. So Addison now, according to the market, I mean, this guy's been a little bit erratic here in the 11 hole, but I think 84 feels like a reasonable discount for Addison. Maybe a little bit too aggressive of one, honestly. I could see myself scooping Addison at the discount. Hart the King, got to have you on soon. Hey, let me know. I'm around. I'll be more available to do stuff now. We're in July and August, hopefully. Still fucking dying on the vine waiting for an investor follow-up that we've been waiting a week for now. But in holidays or summers, people take a lot of trips. People take a lot of holidays, especially in Europe, is what they would call the vacation. This is why my brain went there. So waiting to hear some stuff on probably that I was hoping would give me some blue sky about, doing other stuff. Because otherwise I'm just a constant ball of startup founder anxiety in most days. But hoping to have a little more time to do some other streams. And again, I would like to book some guests on Splash Play coming up as well, but we'll see. Having to stream at 11 a.m. I feel like is not optimal guest booking time generally. That's me rambling about things that have been in my head in the one day I haven't done a stream. Lad is only undersized because he's white. I think he would still be undersized if he were black as well. I don't think we need to make it a race. He gets compared to Cooper Kupp a lot because he's white. I'll give you that. But, I don't think I don't think he's undersized because of being white. So stuff like Scrappy, Book Smart, Coach's Child, those are more the white guy adjectives I think that you'd have to be a little more assigned with. Guest book you. I got a big game hunt first. I got to get like Evan Silva on first. I don't know. Then the issue is like, oh, do I really want to try to chase down guests? I just like doing stream. I just like doing drafts. It's ultimately it. Like reading news, debating the news, and then doing drafts in that order. 0160. See what YOLO Bet does. The YOLO pick of all YOLO picks, Curtis Samuel. That's the one you go to when you're YOLOing. I mean, hard to ignore Jaden Daniels right here, right? We don't have a bet on Dallas. This guy's got a tight end, so Brock Bowers should come back to me anyway. Maybe want some more RBs on top, but we don't need it. This is a Jaden Daniels team. The team's got Terry McLaurin on it. It's got to have Jaden Daniels on it. Terry doesn't hit unless Jaden Daniels hits in a big way. Like fundamental, like that's really, I know I say that for sometimes like players that aren't, with good QBs, but really if McLaurin's going to pay off his ADP and my exposure, this guy took a second tight end and Brock Bowers. Motherfucker, that's so dumb. Why assume logical drafting and get kicked in the dick is what I'm dealing with here. Cortland Sutton, a little bit of a discount, doesn't do a whole lot for us. Jordan Love, not stacked. Dak, not stacked. Brian Robinson is stacked. Add him to the pile. My pile of Brian Robinson. So you can see my exposures on the screen. We got Jaden Daniels, Christian McCaffrey. Brian Robinson is RB2. We got Brandon Ayuk, Mike Evans, Terry McLaurin, Keenan Allen, Deontay Johnson, and JSN as our wide receivers. So heavy at wide receiver. Going to have to dial back the position for a good while if going back there at all. But basically an extreme zero RB team with Christian McCaffrey on top. Not going to complain about it. Never assume. No, you assume. No. So like, here's the thing. You never assume logical drafting in terms of like getting your hopes up. You assume logical drafting in terms of trying to squeeze the maximum value out of the room. That's fundamentally what I believe for most things. And like Brock Bowers, if this guy's going to take Brock Bowers as a second tight end when he has Trey McBride, I don't know. Like he's probably contributing a little bit to the rake with that kind of pick. So, and that said, I think Jaden and Brian Robinson look better for this team anyway. I would like to get more Brock Bowers. Like I do want to be double the field on Brock Bowers. Right now, I think I'm under 13% on him because I just don't get him in drafts. You met 13% of him heading into this one. So I would like to get more Brock, but having 13% early on, I kind of can pick and choose my spots on Brock Bowers more. I also can pick and choose my spots on Jaden Daniels, to be clear, given my immense exposure there. But we got McLaurin. We want to have a team that comes over the top with Christian McCaffrey. So that's it. 32% Robinson. Ooh-wee. Oh, this is not even Mr. Poopy Butthole. See, my poopy balls did say Brock would be taken from you. Bowers, that is. That's true. Wrong Brock. Different Brock. Have a lot of last round Rondales. A bring back to change it up and go last round Casey Washington. Low exposure and he's shown flashes. Feels a little thin to me, I think. I think Rondale mostly will have him blocked. My thing is getting more Darnell Mooney, generally, I think is the move. So Brock Purdy goes here to a guy with no Niners, 2 receivers, and Josh Allen. So I wasn't getting Brock Purdy unless I took him in the 90s, and I'm not. I would rather have Jaden over Brock in the 90s 10 times out of 10. Maybe 9 times accounting for the time where I have McCaffrey, Debo, Ayuk, and like Kittle maybe on top. Then I would really want Brock Purdy. But for most builds, just unstacked QB, guys, is never the move, especially when it's not that big of a discount. I feel like that's the one thing I like in 2024, I really would have thought we don't have to keep saying this quite as much. People tend to get the concept of stacking or whatever, but people looked at the BBM winner, took the wrong takeaways. You don't want unstacked QBs. Like you really don't get a lot of value from that. Brock Purdy at 140, if you got boxed out of all your other logical stacking partners, yeah, do it then. Even Brock Purdy in the 120s, if you're just like, well, there's another pick I like here, and Purdy would shore me up a QB. All right, at least you're getting a little bit of a discount there. But Purdy falls to players like to stacked players, let alone taking him at ADP unstacked. It's never the move. Type of room where clean stacks are not common. Fair enough. Fair enough. Not going to lie, I have a decent amount of Bowers as tight end too. I feel like about Bowers this year as people felt to AR, felt like about AR to me last year, where it's like, if you're taking AR, the bet is that he makes a leap up to being an elite QB. So you don't necessarily want him with another elite QB because your hope is that he's going to transcend and rise up. Like it's the same thing for Brock Bowers, or if you're taking him with Sam Laporta and whatever. You're maybe not maximizing the bet of getting Bowers where he is priced for this theoretical potential upside. So I don't know. But it's a thin line. Like, I think he and Njoku are very similar plays, but I'd be okay with Njoku as your tight end too in some builds. So maybe not perfectly consistent on that one. Caleb is still here. Could do that for the Chicago bet. Do need RBs a little bit more, though. I'm going to get a share of Gus here, I guess. I'm low on Gus overall in the year. I think I want to flatten that out a little bit more. You can see I have 21% Chase Brown, 22% Jerome Ford. Low on Gus, even though I think he has potential to be a complete touchdown hound. So we'll take a share of Gus Edwards here as my RB3. We're going to keep some flexibility for the rest of these positions as well right now. Of course, if you want these data points on your screen while you draft on a laptop, I think you might be able to use it on a tablet as well. Go ahead. Oh, no, don't use Stochastic. Go to bestballoverlay.com. Promo code SPLASH gets you $10 off your first month. So normally it's $30 to get your first month for $20. If you go to bestballoverlay.com and use the promo code SPLASH. Caps lock or lowercase, you are now good to go with either option. All right. 1360 build here. Do you need to get tight end at some point? Doesn't have to be now. In fact, most logically would not be now. This guy timed out on Mike Williams. So there's a decent discount on Caleb Williams. Then I'm boxing myself out at QB because really don't think we want to go 3 QBs with Jaden and Caleb. I could also make my RB room a little bit better. That's a tough call. I think I'll just scoop the Caleb value. Hopefully we'll be able to get Komet on the way back, but in this room, that does not seem to care too much for correlating. We'll see. So it's a 2360 build right now. Jaden Daniels, Caleb Williams, 2 rookie stars at QB. Big discount on Caleb. Obviously not a discount on Jaden. We got Christian McCaffrey, Brian Robinson Jr., Gus Edwards is our RBs. Could maybe go a little more rookie-minded later on because of the fact these guys should have good early season production, we would think. Brandon Ayuk, Mike Evans, Terry McLaurin, Keenan Allen, Deontay Johnson, JSN as our wide receivers, and no tight ends yet. So if I had gone tight end, obviously I've got enough Dalton Schultz. Don't really want Dallas Goedert without Jalen Hurts. Kind of think that bet doesn't work for me too well without a concentrated bet on Philadelphia. But Goddard could have been a pick as a little bit of a discount as well. I don't know. She's not a Goddard guy, really. Caleb was the pick with Keenan and JSN. Yeah, okay, fair enough. I mean, we have it now, a game stack with a bring back, so we're okay with it. Bully tight end, and it is not uncommon. See Bowers and Ferguson a good amount. I don't think that would be bully tight end. I think that's still, it's 2 tight ends in the same pocket. A bully tight end would be going I think the cap would have to be probably round 6. We're going 2 tight ends in the top 6 rounds. At least to me, I believe that's traditional bully tight end definition, but maybe I'm wrong. Try to skinny stack Goff, Detroit wide receiver 3 to make a unique week 17 pairing. I really don't think the Goff Khalif Raymond bet doesn't work too well for me, especially when we just talked about, we do have the bet here on Keenan Allen, have the bet with JSN as a bring back, have the opportunity to get a Chicago back later on to make more if we want. I think that's really it for me. Do I like Goddard and Dak Lamb builds? He's okay. He's the obvious bring back. I think to me, getting your crack at Devontae Smith and Lamb builds is probably the way to do that and try to get the most upside. I would imagine that Goddard is there comparable amount to Devontae, maybe more so because of the fact it requires less draft capital to get him. But he's fine. I mean, there's only so many bets you can make for Philadelphia. So anybody that you can make as a bring back, I think trying to get them in even parts if you can is what I would try to do. But if you can get Dak and A.J. Brown with CeeDee Lamb, then definitely do that. That's my pro tip for all the drafters out there. If you can get Dak Prescott together with CeeDee Lamb and A.J. Brown, woof, make that work. Honestly, you probably can do that in redraft leagues, I would assume, but probably not in any best ball site that I'm aware of. Unless there's a fourth mystery one out there. Maybe FFPC, you could do it. Scott Fishbowl, you could definitely do it. Does Caleb make you stop at 2 or still possibly taking Baker Price as week 17? Depends on how I feel about the other positions and if those guys are a discount. If they're a discount, I could build out a third game stack. Sure. With the draft capital and the talent these guys have, I'd be comfortable with Jaden and Caleb. Yeah. Get ready to learn Paris Campbell. Oh boy. No, thank you. I'll take Paris Campbell if I have a Dallas bet. I think it's okay there. Marshawn Lloyd going 139. So prevent me from one of my cozy little safety blankies coming back, which I'll take at this point. A lot of Marshawn Lloyd in my portfolio. All right, Jahan Dotson here making kissy faces for another receiver spot. With the early season production, we could go Nick Chubb and then try to get him being more super powered down the home stretch. Kendre Miller would be an okay pick. It is Dotson ADP wise. I'm going to go, well, no, I shouldn't go Komet first. I'm going to go Nick Chubb. No correlation, but I do think this kind of team can withstand not having Chubb. I feel like I'm more comfortable with this Chubb bet in the 140s. With like Rico Dowdle being gone there, just didn't feel like there's much pressure on me. And we're just trying to build RB production as the season goes on. So Chubb, miss 8 weeks, whatever. I think we can get through with McCaffrey, Brian Robinson, and Gus. And then Cole Kmet here to complete our Chicago stacking. First tight end off the board for me. We don't have a bet on Rome Odunze. Don't have a bet on DJ Moore, so we can make a bet another pass catcher for Chicago. So the team so far, we have Jaden Daniels, Caleb, Christian McCaffrey, Brian Robinson Jr., Gus Edwards, Nick Chubb, Brandon Ayuk. I should have probably separated there. That was the RBs. Wide receivers, Brandon Ayuk, Mike Evans, Terry McLaurin, Keenan Allen, Deontay Johnson, JSN, and Cole Kmet. So probably a 3 tight end build if Kmet's your first tight end off the board, I would think. Nick Chubb has hit his bottom, only goes up from here. No, because we haven't had that official pup list announcement. If there's a pup list of him being out, he's got one more dip. So again, I think at 140, going up against the guys he's going up against, he's a logical bet. If he starts going in like Ray Davis territory, I think he's also a logical bet there. To me, if people are just going to be afraid of Chubb, like I didn't like Chubb in the 90s where he was going before people like paid any attention to the injury news about him. But in the 140s against these guys, he and Kendre are like not dissimilar bets. There's a chance he doesn't play. There's not a chance he doesn't play. He's going to play again. It might go poorly, but he's going to play again. And Chubb is not a trade commodity. That's true. If Chubb hits pup, it'll be rediscounted for the 8th time. Yeah, it's double, it's triple counting things we already know. But that's also exactly how I feel about it. Like 100%. Because people didn't pay attention early. They're then like reattributing more and more like, oh no, he's not going to play early. And it's like, he's been not going to play early since the moment he got hurt. Like that's been pretty obvious. Chubb is Blake Corum with an actual role. Interesting take. I mean, yeah, more guaranteed goal line work, I would think. Like I would bet when they're easing him in, he's just getting goal line touches and maybe, 8 other touches besides that. Like, so he's getting a 10 a game, if I had to guess. Like when they're ramping him up. So give this team a read, though, so we can recenter for the home stretch. So it's a 2-4-6-1 here. Again, you can see some of the data on my screen from bestballoverlay.com. Promo code SPLASH on there gets you $10 off your first month. You get Jaden Daniels and Caleb Williams at QB, Christian McCaffrey, Brian Robinson Jr., Gus Edwards, and Nick Chubb. Luxury Nick Chubb here, a little bit after ADP. Brandon Ayuk, Mike Evans, Terry McLaurin, Keenan Allen, Deontay Johnson, and JSN. Again, went hot and heavy at receiver, 6 receivers in the first 75 picks, and then you have to dial it back if you do something like that. And Cole Kmet is tight end 1 here, so weakest at tight end, obviously a strong receiver room, RB room of Christian McCaffrey. If the chalk bet hits, I think we have a nice RB room. And the QBs, 2 of my favorite rookies overall, but especially at QB. Chubb has been running and doing single leg hurdles on his knee already. He'll never walk again this year. Yeah, he's already been working pretty hard. Still has to ramp up. Still a difference between doing even very difficult workouts and in-game running and cutting, jumping, all that too. Which is why he's going to be on the pup list. But when that pup list happens, That announcement probably doesn't happen until like August, if I had to guess. But if I think Chubb hangs around 140-ish, and then when the pup list thing happens, probably drops maybe a little bit before the J.K. Dobbins range, like assuming this all holds steady. Noah Fant, kind of interesting pick to me if he had come back, just because the Chicago-Seattle bet. Not a lot of tight ends left that I actually like, but not a must-have. And keep building out RB. So you can see there's one guy I am above market on, and Bucky Irving, though at this spot doesn't really matter too much. Would be McLaughlin by ADP. But Bucky correlates with our bet, so we'll go Bucky here. I'm only at 19% Bucky right now. I've kind of dialed him back a little bit so we get more July news, which is one of my draft approaches. I'd like to have guys go heavy on them when there's no news out there, and I could have my takes or some light news about guys like Bucky, positive quotes and things like that. Then when there isn't anything solidified, I then dial it back. When we get something solidified about guys like Bucky, guys like Audric Estime, guys like Troy Franklin, I'll be a little bit more heavy on them again. 2462 here. Or actually 2561. Sorry, I'm looking at the other guys. Shit. Need tight ends still. I mean, I think for this build, again, the bet we have on Tampa Bay, I think it makes sense to take Cade Otton here. So again, we've got this Carolina-Tampa Bay bet. We've now got a Tampa Bay bet without the QB. Could add Baker on or Bryce on if we have that flexibility. It feels like we're good. So that's my approach for right now. It's a 2-5-6-2 with Jaden Daniels and Caleb Williams at QB. Christian McCaffrey, Brian Robinson Jr., Gus Edwards, Nick Chubb, and then a young guy who we hope, I'm hoping he could be there early, but obviously him coming on late would be the more logical thing to hope for with Bucky Irving. We got Brandon Ayuk, Mike Evans, Terry McLaurin, Keenan Allen, Deontay Johnson, and JSN. So we hit those 6 receivers early, and then we've kept it dialed back since then. And Cole Kmet and Cade Otton. So the team is evenly distributed now. We still have the flexibility to add 1 or 2 receivers on top late. Could add a third QB, could add a third tight end. I like this build. I don't know if this build is going to work for everybody, but having McCaffrey, I think, gives you a little more flexibility to, A, attack wide receiver pretty hard after you get McCaffrey, and then B, just be a little bit different at RB. I think this build is kind of different at RB. Nick Chubb's enough of a physical freak that if he plays 11 games and rushes for 1,000 yards, just can't be shocked. But it's reckless to make bets like it's going to happen. Yeah, I think that's it. You have to account for the risk of injury. Like, that's the same thing where, look, do I think Jaden Daniels has a 33% chance of hitting this year? No, I think he's probably hitting, 50 to 75% of the time, assuming no injury. If we account for the injury, maybe 66% of the time. But because of how best ball is, because of how there can be minor injuries that don't dictate an entire year, but can take away chunks of a season, because of just the luck of timing of guys scoring big points, like, you do have to address that and drop your probability a little bit. And your exposure should match ultimately what you think the probability is of a guy hitting. Now, for me in best ball, I think what I've settled in on is I think it's half of what I think a guy's chance of hitting and being a league winner is. So, for Marshawn Lloyd, I need to get that probably down also to 35%-ish, though I think at his current ADP, I would say he's got an 85% chance of being a league winner. For Jaden Daniels, I think at his current ADP, he's probably got about, I would say, 2/3 chance of being a league winner. So that's how I approach my exposures, but obviously, that's me accounting for some amount of risk. Some people out there will go 75% exposure on guys. I don't think that's correct. Because just like the randomness of a season, you could be it could be Puka Nacua, Kyron Williams last year. And yeah, that would help out your portfolio with those 2 major outliers. But let's say those guys get hurt week 17 instead of having a good week. It's that could kill you just as bad because you were relying on these guys that kind of gave your team an artificial sense of self, an artificial projection boost / performance boost. So even that, having 75% of anybody can be a lot. Again, if you get it right, you're going to feel good. When you get it wrong, you are going to murder your portfolio. Why Lloyd? Perfect situation. Ascendant offense that loves to use checkdowns for RBs. Lloyd's the shiftiest RB coming out in this class, probably one of the shiftiest RBs to come out in a couple of years. So good size, tested athletically well at the combine. It's just a perfect situation. A guy like Josh Jacobs as well, whose efficiency has gone down. I still think Jacobs is a perfectly fine play at ADP, but Lloyd, for what he represents, which is at the very least being Tyjae Spears last year in Tennessee, I think that's a fine enough outcome. The good outcome is him taking that role and being a monster, and I think he's got that in his bag. Range of potential outcomes. All right, so Baker Mayfield goes, so we won't get tempted by the true 3 QB build here. Ben Sinnott on the board, but I think, well, we don't really need a 6th RB, do we? Herbert doesn't feel bad at this spot, though. A little more Chicago. We'll do that. Can't imagine this guy's going to take Ben Sinnott. If he does, fuck me. But he's got an elite tight end and Brock Bowers, so I'm hoping Ben Sinnott will safely come back and we'll have him as our 3rd tight end in this build. All right, Sinnott comes back. There we go. Do want to lower my Sinnott exposure a little bit, but him going at 194 here when I have Jaden Daniels, that's too good of a bet. So it's a 2-6-6-3 here. Again, hit our receivers hot and heavy early and then dialed it back. And I think we're going to go to 1 in round 18. We got Jaden Daniels and Caleb Williams at QB, Christian McCaffrey, Brian Robinson Jr., Gus Edwards, Nick Chubb, Bucky Irving, Khalil Herbert at RB. Wide receiver, we've got Brandon Ayuk, Mike Evans, Terry McLaurin, Keenan Allen, Deontay Johnson, and JSN. And a tight end, Cole Kmet, Cade Otton, and Ben Sinnott. So a diverse room of guys whose target shares may not be fantastic. Though there was Mike Clay at ESPN recently saying that Ben Sinnott might be the number 2 target earner for the Commanders. So a bit of a pushback on some of the H-back talk. But definitely a tough tight end room unless Ben Sinnott is as good as I hope. Send it to the next Laporta. Look, I was Team Laporta last year. So let's hope that we get it right this time. Though I was also Team Musgrave. Also Team Michael Mayer. But rookie tight ends, underappreciated. Ben Cool. Honestly, I would take a Chris Cooley outcome for him if it was like peak Chris Cooley. Now, I don't know about last round Casey Washington still. I don't know. Honestly, last round, like Khalif Raymond might make more sense for this team because we do have Detroit playing Chicago and SF, which I think is what D. Owens is maybe pushing me towards earlier. So getting double correlation for Khalif Raymond if he were to come back, kind of interesting. But really nothing a must-have. It's going to be a receiver. What receiver it is will just depend on what we get back. Team Musgrave this year. Look, Musgrave, I've said it a few times or, enough times. Like, he really came back and showed out well after the lacerated kidney with that big play that he had versus Dallas, where him getting downfield and making like that kind of play is what his upside is. So for him to show that after Jordan Love finally found his footing and then Musgrave happens to get healthy, like, I think that gave me a lot of hope for this year with what Musgrave can do. That said, there's so many targets there. Like, people still want Wicks to be a thing, but he's like wide receiver 4. You have 3 legit targets. You have Jacobs there. You have Lloyd there, who I think is going to be involved pretty well from the jump. It's enough things to make me feel like Musgrave having his true ceiling is not the most likely. But he can have, he can honestly have like 2 for 80 and 2 touchdown kind of days, which you don't expect to have very often. But he doesn't have to get a lot of targets to have huge days because of what a downfield target he is. He was really good at Oregon State. It was only 1 game, I think, or 2 games he played his last year before he got hurt, which maybe bad sign, getting hurt 2 years in a row. I think separate injuries. But, he was like only being used downfield at Oregon State. He was like a monster. So, and you do have a lot of guys that are more, close to the line of scrimmage targets. Like Dobbs will go, kind of past the sticks, but not go down too deep downfield. Jaden Reed going to be close to the line of scrimmage coming out of the slot. So maybe Musgrave can just have some big plays downfield. That would be the hope for him. The hills I will likely die on, Musgrave and Tez Walker at cost. I am heavy on Tez right now. Tez, anytime I have a Houston player, I go Tez Walker. Tez, you can see I've got 16% exposure, which is too much for a 17th, 18th round guy. Do you think you want to be 8 to 12% on your last round guys to give yourself better shot, cast a wider net of more guys who can hit? Speaking of more guys, Rondale Moore here, 13% exposure. I really don't know that Casey Washington's going to be a thing. Really find that hard to believe. Know anybody with a name getting mentioned this time of year? Your antenna should be up justifiably. But like Rondale Moore has been waiting for a moment like this, I think. High pass rate offense that needs a slot guy. He's also absolutely going to be the check down guy because Mooney's only downfield targets. London, kind of sticks guy. Moore feels like Tolbert Risk. You might not be wrong. You might not be wrong. I view it less so, but I think that could be a little personal bias creeping in for sure. Rasheen Ali goes. Yikes. All right. So we got Rondale. Got Paris Campbell for week 16, Washington. Got Aeneas Smith for week 16, Washington. Nothing Chicago-wise, unless we're going to go Tyler Scott. I just don't think I'm breaking priors here. I think this is a Rondale spot. I like Jalen Hyatt enough, but we've got no bet that really correlates with that at all. So Rondale Moore, once again, get me closer to 16%, which is a little bit much. That was draft number 69 for me. So let's see what we got here. Give the team a read. We got Jaden Daniels and Caleb Williams at QB. Christian McCaffrey, Brian Robinson Jr. So I should be now a little bit over the field on Christian McCaffrey. Brian Robinson Jr., Gus Edwards, Nick Chubb, who I have not had a lot of exposure to in BBM. That might be my first share, which doesn't seem right. Bucky Irving, Khalil Herbert, Brandon Ayuk, Mike Evans, Terry McLaurin, Keenan Allen, Deontay Johnson, JSN, and Rondale Moore. I'm low on JSN. Got to make that up. Cole Kmet, Cade Otton, Ben Sinnott. Heavy Ben Sinnott for sure. You can see all this data on my screen from bestballoverlay.com, so check that out. Promo code SPLASH at bestballoverlay.com. Appreciate you guys watching. I don't think I've asked for subscribes at all, but I know how it goes today with Peach Stream. So, hey, go watch Peach Stream. But first, subscribe here. New drafts for me every Monday to Saturday at 11 a.m. Sometimes doubleheaders, including last Saturday and last Friday. Did doubleheaders in drafters and in BBM. So check that out here on the channel. Of course, this is why, I don't know, why you should watch me. Hey, I forget to put the Chiron up at the beginning of the video, so then I feel like I have to put it up in the end. That's on me. Go ahead, Best Ball Overlay, promo code SPLASH on there. Of course, Underdog, promo code SPLASH, $250 in bonus cash when you use that promo code on there. So, Kasich, you want some DFS tools? If you're bored because there's no baseball, go ahead and play some PGA. I don't know. WNBA, you can do it all with Stochastic. Promo code SPLASH on there. You can see 15% off. Hey, stop me if you heard this one. Promo code SPLASH on Drafters. $100 deposit match on there. Of course, a great site to play on. I'll be giving away more tickets. We had 4 giveaway winners on Friday, or on Saturday, getting tickets into the Drafters Million, which is $15 entries, $500K to first place. A lot of fun there. No pods, no playoff pods. So a different experience that you're getting into Best Ball Mania. Check it out. We have a couple members I have to add on here, probably a few I have to take off as well, but appreciate all the people who hit the join button down below. When you join the channel for $4.99 a month, $4.99, I'll hold up the requisite fingers. You can get yourself 10 team reviews a month for me. My rankings updated weekly with over 275 plus blurbs, and you can even import them into Underdog. And you also get a VIP Discord as part of that. So check it out. Hit the join button. I'll be back tomorrow with more, hopefully with some more viewers. So appreciate you guys watching me. I'll see you guys then. Enjoy your days. And of course, good luck. Bye-bye.